Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing every single Bitcoin mining stock that there is, or at least the major ones. There are well more than 20. So we're going to go over the major ones. We're going to talk about hash rate. We're going to talk about how large these Bitcoin mining companies are from a valuation standpoint. And we're also going to talk about, in my opinion, which ones are overvalued and undervalued based on some of the metrics that we're going to be discussing in today's video. Now, keep in mind, believe it was JP Morgan, the bank, just recently did a report at the beginning of 2025 that showed about 29% of that global hash rate for Bitcoin, which is basically the how much power is or compute power is behind the Bitcoin network. 29% of the global hash rate is based in the United States' publicly listed Bitcoin mining companies. Combine that with non-publicly listed private companies and individual Bitcoin miners, I would imagine that the US has well over one third of the entire global hash rate. Now, this is good because we know that, the US has really been picking up when it comes to the infrastructure behind Bitcoin mining stocks. And in today's video, I think it's really important that we understand what the hash rate is compared to the valuation of these companies and understand where these companies stand, in my view, from a development perspective and evaluation perspective. And so before we do that, I also want to keep in mind that the crypto pivot to AI is already here. I just did a video the other day, and sure enough, this article came out. They probably watched my video. But anyway, this is a huge pivot for these Bitcoin mining companies. And in my view, it's a very important and smart pivot because these companies that are moving into the AI space, they understand that they can diversify their business, right? The whole thing with Bitcoin mining is sometimes it's profitable and sometimes it's not profitable to mine Bitcoin depending on your operation. And so, being able to utilize the compute, utilize the energy, and utilize their resources, which are basically these warehouses for these Bitcoin mining machines or AI servers. They're basically almost the same type of thing. You can outfit a Bitcoin mining company as an AI compute server company or vice versa. And so this pivot to AI, in my view, is one of the smarter ones for some of these Bitcoin mining companies. And we're going to discuss some of that today. So when you're doing your research for your investment portfolio, I would definitely recommend looking into, if you're looking at one of these Bitcoin mining companies for the longer term, which one which ones are pivoting to AI, because the ones that are pivoting to AI, they're going to have the a stronger business model for the long run, in my view. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they can pivot. If Bitcoin mining during a bear market, maybe it's not profitable, maybe it's not smart enough, maybe they're going to make more money in the AI realm, so they go and move their resources to the AI side, and then when Bitcoin becomes more profitable, they turn that back on. And this can help grow and make the entire crypto and AI ecosystem much stronger. And by the way, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also give the video a free thumbs up. I upload every single day almost to give you guys the latest happening in the financial world. And again, these are just my opinions, so I could be wrong, and do your own research. So we're going to be starting here with Bitcoin treasuries. Now, this is also very important to understand because some of these companies, and again, this becomes very complex. The difference between Bitcoin mining companies and then just like a Tesla or an Amazon or a Google is typically they have one major business, right? Or one major revenue stream. But now with the complexities of these Bitcoin mining companies, the complexity becomes so much more. Are they adding AI? Do they own Bitcoin? How much Bitcoin are they saving from what they're actually mining? All these questions are really good questions, but in my view, it's probably important to understand all of it. But as we're going through, you're going to see some of these. I'm like, well, it's kind of undervalued, but they also have a lot of Bitcoin, so that's probably makes it very undervalued, maybe overvalued. So we're going to go through it. Let's get into it. We're going to start with this. So the Bitcoin treasuries, you can go to bitcointreasuries.org and it will bring you to this, and it'll show you every publicly traded Bitcoin mining company or other company that is holding Bitcoin, like Tesla's holds Bitcoin, MicroStrategy holds Bitcoin, etc. So we're going to be coming back to that in a minute. So we're going to start here with CleanSpark, because CleanSpark is an interesting one, has a lot of support. A lot of people love this stock. And just at the beginning of February 2025, CleanSpark CEO stated, quote, "We exceeded 2024 guidance and surpassed 40 exahashes per second in January." This is the hash rate, 40 exahashes per second for CleanSpark. So when we're looking at overall these companies, the largest Bitcoin miner uh, by hash rate is Marathon Digital. Marathon Digital at this point, by the way, this hash rate index, these numbers are not accurate. So I'm just using this kind of as a guide, but the numbers are not accurate. You can see CleanSpark hasn't updated to 40, and Marathon Digital, from my understanding, has 50 exahashes per second already. And so Marathon Digital is the largest, CleanSpark is the second largest. And from my understanding, neither of these two have made that pivot to AI just yet. Let's look at this release and see. Yeah, it doesn't say artificial. Nope, there's nothing about artificial intelligence here at all. And CleanSpark is worth almost $3 billion. Okay, so we have 40 exahash, $3 billion. Keep that in mind. If we move on to Cipher, right? Cipher Mining, CIFR. Cipher Mining is worth $2.1 billion, basically almost the same valuation as CleanSpark, right? Cipher is $2.1 billion, CleanSpark is $2.87 billion. So basically almost the same. And meanwhile, if we look at Cipher Mining, if we look at their exahashes per second, this is from February, this is their January operational update. You can see the month end operating hash rate is 13.5 exahashes per second. So I want you to think about that. CleanSpark's hash rate is basically 3 times what Cipher Mining is. And Cipher Mining basically has the same exact market cap, almost the same. So does that mean that Cipher Mining is overvalued? Or does that mean that CleanSpark is undervalued? Do you guys see where I'm coming from here? And so this is what we're going to really explore in the other aspects of this market, because if we kind of move on to Bitfarms, this is one that I've talked about for quite a while, and I still am a firm believer in it. This is from February as well. Their operational hash rate is 15 exahashes per second. Okay, now keep in mind, Bitfarms is a Canadian company, but they have operations all over the world, including the United States. And they just sold one of their mining sites in Paraguay to Hive Blockchain, another Bitcoin mining company. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. We also know that Bitfarms is about to merge and purchase Stronghold Digital. But beyond all of that, right? Currently, they're at 15 exahashes per second. When they take on Stronghold, they're probably going to be closer to 15 to 18 exahashes per second, because that's going to add 5 exahashes. But I'm not sure how much is being removed from the Hive mining site. This may sound a little bit more complicated, but bottom line is they're at 15 exahashes per second when I'm recording this video. And so Bitfarms, if we look at their market cap, now this is in Canadian dollars, it's 919 Canadian 919 million Canadian dollars. This is about $600 million US. So think about this. Bitfarms has a larger hash rate than Cipher Mining. But meanwhile, Bitfarms is $600 million market cap and Cipher Mining is $210 million. That's almost a 4x. So Cipher Mining has a 4x market cap from where Bitfarms is, but Bitfarms has more of a production with a larger hash rate. And so when I look at these things, I have to, say, okay, Cipher Mining may be overvalued, but can it really be overvalued that much compared to Bitfarms, or is Bitfarms extremely undervalued? Personally, I think Bitfarms is extremely undervalued compared to where Cipher is and CleanSpark is. Um, and you guys let me know. I mean, it's at $1.40, this multi-year lows. Meanwhile, it's at $600 million US market cap approximately. And these other ones are in the multiple billions of dollars. So if I'm just thinking, if Bitcoin pumps and we have this whole big narrative about Bitcoin companies or Bitcoin mining companies as the Bitcoin price goes up, and some are pivoting to AI, which, by the way, Bitfarms is pivoting to AI. We've seen this with, I believe that they have some type of agreement going on. Let's see if we can search AI. It's kind of hard. Yeah. So to accelerate the HPC high power computing strategy, they said we recently at Bitfarms engaged 2 expert consultants to launch a formal evaluation of our data centers and the development of their high compute and AI business. And the strategic partners are already evaluating Bitfarms' energy potential for potential partial or total conversion. Again, pivoting to these AI sites as well as accelerated sales strategy. So they're looking at what's going to make more money. And again, they could research this for half of the year in 2025, and then the second half of the year say, you know what, we're going to pivot to AI, which would be smart because that they would be pivoting and converting these sites through the end of the bull market, and then they would be ready for AI in the bear market potentially if we're still on a 4-year Bitcoin cycle and we're thinking about that. And so in a bear market, they can perform still and still make money and still make profits, which a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies the last cycle they didn't. Core Scientific is a great example. We're going to be talking about them a little bit later in this video. Core Scientific went bankrupt. And as I explained, last cycle in 2021, in the height of the bull market, all of these Bitcoin mining companies were ordering and prepaying for these new Bitcoin mining machines. And they were expecting them to get delivered in 2022. Well, what happened in 2022? The market dropped significantly. We went to the depths of the bear market. A lot of companies imploded. And so the prices all went down. So these companies were getting these Bitcoin mining machines during the bear market, and they paid for them at bull market prices. So not only were they making less money because the price of Bitcoin was lower, but the cost of power also went up because we had massive inflation. And the machines that they were getting delivered were not as strong as the newer machines that they were planning on releasing before this bull market. And so it just became a really bad situation for a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies. And so I said on my channel, I mean, how did any of these CEOs of any of these large Bitcoin mining companies not anticipate that we were going to be in this situation? Why were they all selling their Bitcoin in the bear market? Most of these Bitcoin mining companies were selling literally their Bitcoin in the bear market over the last few years. And they weren't holding it for the bull market. That didn't make any sense to me either. Why would they not be holding as many dollars as they can, or as many Bitcoin as they can for when the bull market comes and then sell into that liquidity? That I still don't understand. But again, Bitfarms significantly lower market cap than Cypher with a higher hash rate. And also, Bitfarms is pivoting to AI and looking at how they can enhance their business. And in my view, it's going to come down to money, right? If they're going to make maybe 20% more by switching to AI, they may not do it. But if they're going to be making double or triple what they were making, this is going to be huge. And the thing is, these Bitcoin mining companies, they already have the production facilities for AI compute, where other companies that would want to do it, they'd have to raise money, gather all the necessary infrastructure, build out their facility, and then, fire up all those machines. And that could take, a year or two, where these Bitcoin mining companies, they're well strategically positioned for this. And this is why I believe in these Bitcoin mining companies. Now, are these long-term holds? I mean, you really have to think about that, right? If we just look here, let's compare this to let's say Marathon Digital, right? The largest Bitcoin mining company in the world, and publicly traded, I should say. Why is this a pith? Okay, here it is. So there's Marathon Digital. Why is it not showing me? Okay, there we go. So if we pull this out to the 5-year chart, um, I don't know why that's showing like that. Let me see. Let's pull this up and click stocks and type in Marathon Digital Holdings. There we go, NASDAQ. Okay, so let's put that. Oh, it was on the Pith network. I don't know why it did that. That was very weird. So yeah, you can see here. Let's close. Let's hide Bitcoin so you can see. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on. Okay. So if you see here during 2021, Marathon Digital went. It was showing me. Let's do regular so I can see the price. It went to $80, right? We went from a low of it looks like $2 to $80. So a 440x, right? Basically what Solana did from $8 to $240 this cycle already. That's what Marathon Digital did. And then it went from basically $80 down to the bear market low of $3-4. So basically it went up 40x and then it came down basically 98%. And so is it a long-term hold? I don't know. That's for you to decide if you think that these companies, these Bitcoin mining companies, are going to be able to operate effectively and keep up, right? One of the things with this industry is that they have to keep buying new machines that are better for computing on the network. Otherwise, the other companies that are buying newer equipment, they're going to be more efficient. And the same thing is going to be with the AI compute and better servers and faster servers and all of that. It's going to be a constant chase. And this is, for some people, not worth it because you're going to go through these massive cycles like what we've saw with Marathon Digital in the previous bull run. Anyway, back to these Bitcoin mining companies. Another Bitcoin mining company that I want you guys to take a quick look at here is Mawson Infrastructure. This is also known as MIGI, MIGI, on the stock market. Now, Mawson is a very interesting one. It is part of a lot of larger portfolios that are invested in Bitcoin mining, but also, again, from January, Mawson Infrastructure is a company focused on digital infrastructure platforms for AI, high performance computing, and digital assets. So again, Mawson is also making the pivot to AI, right? 36% year over year revenue growth in total revenue with an increased optimized revenue mix across digital colocation, energy management, and digital assets, while also building towards AI and high performance compute offerings, along with positive cash flows from operations. So they're continuing to operate as a Bitcoin mining company, but they're also looking to build towards AI. Huge, huge, huge. A lot of people are not paying attention to this. They're just like, well, Marathon Digital is the best. CleanSpark is the best. It's like, maybe Mawson Energy is the best. Anyway, where is Mawson? Mawson Energy has about 5 exahashes per second in operating hash rate. So 5 exahashes per second. I want to remind you, Cypher mining, 13.5 exahashes per second, meaning Cypher mining is 2.5 times larger hash rate than Mawson. But where's Mawson? Mawson is at $11.5 million valuation currently when I'm recording this video. Now, over the last few months, the price has come down significantly, 40%, 30%, from about $1 to 63 cents. Why this is happening? This could be due to a few different reasons. One, Mawson, they're having some internal conflicts with previous leadership that are suing the company and all of that. But beyond that, the company itself seems to be operating effectively. And it seems like their pivot to AI is the right thing to do. Plus, they already have a very large scale operation for exahashes already, almost 5 exahashes per second. Remember, Bitfarms is buying Stronghold Digital. And Stronghold Digital, they're buying for, I don't remember the exact price, but it's around where we are today, right? Stronghold has a 5 exahash per second hash rate, and Stronghold is $60 million. And I believe you're going to be getting 2.5 shares per Stronghold. So 2.5 times 3.42, so 855 basically for every Stronghold share you own in current prices, approximately, if I'm doing the math right on that. Maybe I'm not. No, it's 2.5 times $1.45. That's how much Bitfarms is right now. So yeah, it's about the same conversion rate. But yes, $60 million valuation on a 5 exahash per second company, Stronghold Mining. And meanwhile, Mawson Energy is at $12 million. So that means basically either Mawson is undervalued by basically, what is that, 80%, or Stronghold is overvalued by basically 6-7%, 6-7 times. And so personally, I think Mawson Energy is highly undervalued, right? Because if Bitfarms is willing to buy Stronghold for basically under 100 or close to $100 million valuation, and Mawson is 1/10 of that currently, to me, this doesn't seem, it seems like Mawson is highly undervalued, especially with their pivot to AI. And I'm surprised a lot of the Bitcoin mining groups on social media are not talking about this more. Between Bitfarms and Mawson, everybody's talking about Cypher mining and CleanSpark and Marathon. And let's kind of take a look at Marathon holdings, right? Remember, Marathon has about 50 exahashes per second, $5.5 billion market cap. Now you could say, well, this is way, way overvalued, especially when CleanSpark has 40 exahashes per second, and CleanSpark is basically 2.8 billion, but Marathon is 5.5 billion. So Marathon is double the valuation of CleanSpark, but they only have 10 exahashes per second more. Why is that? Well, this is when you have to go back to the Bitcoin treasuries because Marathon Digital, as you guys can see here, is holding 40,000 Bitcoin. And so at the current valuation, it's about $3.5 to $4 billion. So when we look at Marathon Digital's market cap, basically about half of their market cap is in Bitcoin. So when we remove that Bitcoin, what was the number? I think 3 billion. Yeah, almost 4. We'll just say 3.8 billion. So if we remove that, 5.53 minus 3.8, that means their market cap without the Bitcoin is $1.7 billion. And they have 50 exahashes per second. So again, is Marathon undervalued or is Marathon overvalued compared to CleanSpark? I mean, it's a good question because if you're thinking about the Bitcoin price is going to go up, that means Marathon Digital is probably undervalued because when the Bitcoin price goes up, their holdings go up and their market cap is going to shoot up, and it's probably going to perform similarly to what like a MicroStrategy, another Bitcoin proxy stock is. But a lot of people could say, well, no, this is overvalued. Based on what we're doing with the comparisons, it would seem that it could be either, right? And you have to just kind of make the decision for your own portfolio what it actually means. Is it overvalued or is it undervalued? And your answer may be different than my answer, so keep that in mind as well. We also want to talk about Riot Platforms. Riot Platforms, end of 2024, basically had about a 30 to 35 exahashes per second. And Riot Platforms, if we look at the market cap is $4 billion. So you could say, wait, CleanSpark has a higher hash rate, but a lower market cap. And that would be true. But you also have to keep in mind how much Bitcoin is Riot Platforms holding. Riot Platforms is holding $1.7 billion worth, about 18,000 Bitcoin. So 1.7, and if we remove that from the Riot 4.04, minus 1.7 would be basically a $2.34 billion market cap. And CleanSpark market cap is 2.87. So technically, yes, CleanSpark does have a higher market cap if you remove the Bitcoin holdings from the Riot Platform's valuation. And this is kind of where it kind of gets very complex because you have to think about exahashes per second, what their performance looks like. Are they pivoting to AI? Also remember, Riot Platforms, they own 20% of Bitfarms, the entire Bitfarms stock. So, we have to add that into the mix as well. 20% of 600 million, and I'm doing 600 million US. 20% of that would be $120 million in Bitfarms stock. So you have to add that or remove it from the market cap as well. So again, when I look at diversification, out of all of the major Bitcoin mining companies, it would seem to me that Riot Platforms is the best play if you're thinking about every metric put together, because they own Bitfarms, 20%. Bitfarms is purchasing Stronghold Digital, which is going to bring 5 exahashes more to their hash rate and probably more valuation as well, because they're going to have a larger portfolio of these data centers. They're also Riot is focused on Bitcoin mining. They're not making the pivot just yet to AI, but we know that they own Bitfarms, and Bitfarms is making the transition to AI. So Riot owns Bitfarms, also Stronghold by default when they buy it. They own a large quantity of Bitcoin, and they have their own business operations, right? So to me, Riot has the best diversified asset class and diversified portfolio for their own business. But does that equal earnings? I don't know. This is something you have to kind of look at for your portfolio. Do I own some of it? Yeah. And you can see here that during the last cycle, it went from about $3 all the way up to about $70. So like a 25x or something like that, 25x. And so are we going to hit that again? I don't know. Riot has the diversification of being an AI, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin mining. So it's kind of like if any of these narratives pick up, Riot is in very good position because it's not just being going to go up on speculation that Riot is going to perform better, but it's also going to be based on what's going on in the AI realm, what's happening with the Bitcoin price, and what's happening with Bitfarms. And so that's really important to look at. And we also can look at Iris Energy, IREN, IREN. So from their most recent report, which it says Sydney, I didn't know, I thought they were a US based company, but Sydney is in Australia. Anyway, you can see here that they have about 31 exahashes installed, and they are on track, they say, to get to 50 exahashes by the end of the first half of this year, so June, July timeframe. But either way, right now they're at about 30 exahashes per second, which puts them in line with Riot platforms, right? But Iris Energy, I don't think that they hold any Bitcoin. Let's go back to the Bitcoin Treasury website. You can see Clean Spark. We didn't even discuss this earlier. They own 10,000 Bitcoin. Hut 8, which we're not going to be talking about in this video, 10,000 Bitcoin. But I don't see Iris Energy here. So that's, and if we do have Iris Energy, it's definitely not in the tens of thousands of Bitcoin. So Iris Energy is $2.84 billion market cap. Compare that to Riot. Riot, again, same hash rate approximately, but Riot is basically $1.2 billion higher. And so, what is that from? I believe a lot of that is from their lack of Bitcoin holdings and also their lack of expansion into the AI realm, specifically like what Bitfarms is doing. And Riot has that, that exposure through owning Bitfarms. So these are all the kind of the things that I'm looking at when I'm analyzing and what to invest in, when to invest. We can look at Core Scientific. A lot of people ask me, Cryptoviser, what about the Bitcoin mining companies you talked about? Like we talked about Griffin Mining, which is another small mining company, but they've significantly underperformed. I'm very disappointed in their operations. I'm very disappointed in their lack of growth over the last year. Last year in the early 2024, we were talking about Griffin Mining extensively, right? Their leadership team is from Riot Platforms, I believe, and I think a few other Bitcoin mining companies. And I thought this was going to be the team to expand in Bitcoin and also expand in AI. But we have not seen that yet. It doesn't mean they're not doing it. We just haven't seen the full growth of this company at the pace that I was anticipating entering the bull run, right? So yeah, Griffin Mining is not performing very well, right? I mean, my investment in that significantly is lacking, right? But does that mean that I am putting them on the back burner and forgetting about them? No, I'm keeping an eye, but right now I'm not that excited about Griffin Mining. Core Scientific, this is a company that we've been following for years on this channel. Core Scientific was one of those companies that in the last bear market, they went bankrupt. And so the price of the stock went down to 5 cents. And I was on this channel telling my viewers, guys, I am buying, 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 buying on the way down to 5 cents and on the way up. And that was in bankruptcy, right? That was in bankruptcy. And then as they were exiting bankruptcy, there was going to be some type of split on the stock and they were going to create a new stock and you weren't going to get, if you had 100 shares of the old stock, you were not going to get 100 shares of the new stock. So I was like, let me just get out because I don't know what the hell's going to go on. But from my understanding, the new stock from Core Scientific, which is CORZ, this was like a 10 to 1 for what you already own. So if you had 100 shares of the old Core Scientific, you would get 10 shares of the new Core Scientific. And we did the math recently on this channel, but basically if you would have bought at 5 cents, right? After the 10 to 1 split, you would have paid 50 cents for those same shares, right? If we're doing the math. And so if we divide 50 cents by 1226, I think we have to do that the other way. 1227 divided by 50 cents, that means a 24x in an investment from that low. If I'm doing the math right. But I still believe in Core Scientific, and I told my viewers that Core Scientific was going to be one to watch very close because I believe the price was going to go significantly higher, which it did. I mean, when they released the new stock last year, we were in the $3 range, and now we're in $12 range. It peaked out at about $18. So if you held from the bottom at $3 to $18, it's a 6x, 600% increase. And it's probably going higher. I mean, if you just look at some of these companies, TerraWolf, BitDeer, We're not going to go through all of these because, like I said, there's like 50 Bitcoin mining companies total. But I'm going over the ones kind of intro people to kind of my thought process in why which Bitcoin mining companies are the top, right? And so Core Scientific, about a 20 exahash per second rating, which is very similar to, it's close to Bitfarms, close to Riot platforms. But if we look at the valuation, it's $3.4 billion. This is a little bit higher than some of the other ones with the exahash per second. But what I would say is they are focusing, from my understanding, they are looking here, yeah, high performance computing, and that basically means the kind of switch to AI. And they're also expanding just kind of what they were doing. A lot of big money behind them, right? That before they were exiting bankruptcy, they were offered by one of their creditors, right? I think it was B. Riley, a bailout, and they rejected the bailout. Well, what happened a few weeks after they rejected the bailout? They went through with the bankruptcy, and then B. Riley, as well as BlackRock, bailed them out to get them out of bankruptcy. And so they're backed by BlackRock. And in my view, that's kind of like yeah, this is probably going to do well over the longer term. Where we are in the cycle right now, beginning of 2025, entering kind of the mid time frame of 2025, it may be a lot of these assets may not perform anymore. I don't know. I mean, we saw TerraWolf perform extremely well. BitDeer performed very well. You can see this 1 year chart on BitDeer. I mean, BitDeer went from a low in September of $5 all the way up to $25, $26. So basically 5x, 500% already. And we've come down pretty substantially, 40% from that peak. Are we due for another uptrend? Well, I believe so based on the overall crypto markets. But also keep in mind, BitDeer is a company that is partially owned by Tether. And it's not a US based company, but it is a company that is on the US stock market. And the total hash rate they have is about 22.4. So very similar to Core Scientific. And just the fact that they are partially owned by Tether tells me it's probably going to do well, right? You can also see here that they're also focused on AI. Discussions are ongoing with multiple development partners and potential end users for select large-scale US AI. BitDeer AI's cloud saw its average utilization rate drop 60% in January due to an initial shift towards research and development model and inference and AI agents. So they're focused on not just crypto and exahash per second, but also on AI, and that's high power compute. And so they are well positioned, but again, they're already up significantly from the low. Is this the time to invest in it when we just went over some other assets that they haven't even performed really this cycle? And compared to the stocks that have performed, they may be undervalued. I mean, Griffin Mining, as much as I can't stand that stock right now and don't want to buy anymore, Griffin Mining may actually perform very well. Am I willing to take any more risk on Griffin? Probably not right now, unless something changes, right? Maybe they're going to come up with another AI partner. They're going to be bought by another company. Then we'll kind of revisit that. But right now, my main undervalued Bitcoin mining stocks, I believe personally, is Mawson Energy and also Bitfarms. And which one? I don't know. I think that Bitfarms is going to have a better run because they're a larger company, they're more established, they're owned 20% by Riot platforms, so they're getting kind of the nudge that they need, right? This is like kind of like one big conglomerate, Riot platforms. If you own the Bitfarms stock, you own the Bitfarms stock, but you're part of this whole conglomerate because they do have a seat at the table. I believe they're on the board of directors as well. Is Riot going to buy Bitfarms? Personally, I don't think so anytime soon. I think that they're going to, they're going to continue to operate in this separate, but some ownership and some influence perspective. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think anytime soon we're going to see Riot sell their Bitfarms stock, because keep in mind also, Riot's dollar cost average into Bitfarms is $2.30. So that's what they offered Bitfarms to buy the entire company. And so we're significantly lower than that $2.30 right now. So there's a little bit of a buffer unless Riot is willing to take a loss, which I don't know that they will because they're kind of in the same industry. So why would they take a loss? That would basically say that they don't believe that the Bitcoin mining companies are going to go higher. Now, once we get past $2.30, all bets are off. Maybe Riot's going to sell their portion of Bitfarms because they're just going to be like, we're done with them. We don't want to be involved. But based on the involvement between the two companies and the the things that Riot's demanded and the changes that we've seen on the Riot leadership team, I actually think that this is going to be a cohesive kind of relationship between the two companies. At least I hope it will be, and we'll kind of reassess as time goes on. But let me know what you guys think. Are there other Bitcoin mining companies that you wanted me to discuss in a video? I can definitely go through every single one. It would probably take me hours. But just because I didn't talk about any of the other Bitcoin mining companies in this video doesn't mean that they don't have value. I just really wanted to show you guys kind of some of these top mining companies with hash rate and valuation and kind of where they lie in my ranking of the top Bitcoin mining stocks. And if you guys want to see more of these videos, let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We try to upload as much as possible on this channel to keep you guys on top of the latest happening in the financial world. Nothing I say is financial advice. I could be wrong about anything and everything that I say. See you when I see you. Crypto on.